Life of a Medieval Executioner, Witch Trials, Torture, and Franz Schmidt's Diary. What if I told you that one of the most detailed historical diaries we have from 16th century Europe was written not by a king, not by a scholar, but by an executioner? The year is 1573. In Nuremberg, one of the richest cities of the Holy Roman Empire, an 18-year-old man named Franz Schmidt prepares for his first official execution. He didn't choose this profession. Society forced it upon him. For the next 45 years, Schmidt would send 361 people to their deaths, torture hundreds more, and yet, he would also heal wounds, deliver babies, and write one of the most chilling historical journals ever recorded. This is not just the story of an executioner, it's the story of a man trapped between stigma and necessity, duty and conscience. And it forces us to ask, how does someone become both the hand of death and the healer of life? Welcome to Tortured Past, where we uncover history's darkest secrets. If you're fascinated by the brutal side of human history, subscribe now, and stay until the end, because Franz Schmidt's life is as haunting as it is revealing. Franz Schmidt was born in 1555, the son of an executioner. This wasn't a job you applied for, it was a hereditary curse. His grandfather had been convicted of theft, and as punishment, his descendants were forced into dishonorable work. Executioners were necessary but despised. They lived on the edges of society, banned from taverns, churches, and even cemeteries. Children of executioners carried the same stigma. They couldn't easily marry outside their class or enter respectable trades. To be born into such a family was to inherit shame. But unlike most, Franz was given an education. He learned to read and write, studied Latin, and trained in anatomy. This wasn't to lift him out of disgrace, but to make him a better executioner. Efficiency mattered. A botched execution wasn't just humiliating for the condemned, it reflected incompetence on the executioner himself. When Franz turned 18, his father took him to Nuremberg, where he became the city's official executioner. On May 29, 1573, he carried out his first death sentence, a thief condemned for repeated robberies. In his diary, Franz recorded the event with chilling precision. The crime, the chosen method, and his own evaluation of how well he performed. From that day forward, he became the city's hand of justice. Quick question for you. If you were born into this cursed profession, would you accept it? Or would you risk everything to run away? Let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear your take. Let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear your take. Nuremberg's justice system was anything but equal. Nobles, for example, were rarely executed. They might be fined or exiled instead. Wealthy merchants could sometimes buy lighter punishments. But peasants, servants, and the poor, they faced the full weight of the executioner's sword. Franz became a master of methods. Hanging was standard. Decapitation with a sword, considered more honorable, was reserved for nobles. But for treason, heresy, or gruesome crimes, the punishments grew elaborate. Breaking on the wheel, burning at the stake, quartering, each carried symbolic weight, meant not just to kill, but to terrify the public. Yet Franz prided himself on efficiency. He believed a decapitation should take one clean stroke. A hanging should snap the neck instantly. Even torture had rules. Pain should extract truth, not cause premature death. His reputation grew not because people admired him, but because he was precise. Still, the job wasn't mechanical. In 1584, he executed a young artisan named Georg Staber. The man claimed he had killed in self-defense, and many believed him. But the law did not allow mercy for commoners. Franz carried out the order, but his diary reveals his unease. He doubted the justice of the sentence. He knew he had killed an innocent man. Moments like this expose the paradox of Schmidt's life. He was an instrument of justice, but not blind to its flaws. His diary doesn't just list executions, it shows a man wrestling with guilt, morality, and duty. As Nuremberg's official torturer, Schmidt's job went beyond executions. Courts demanded confessions, and torture was the tool. He used the rack, thumb screws, and Spanish boots. He measured how long each suspect could endure, recording their breaking points in clinical detail. But outside his grim duties, another side of Schmidt emerged. With his anatomical knowledge, he treated wounds, performed surgeries, and delivered babies. Nobles and commoners alike sought his skills in secret. Imagine the irony: the same man who crippled bodies by day healed them by night. This duality is what makes Schmidt unique. He wasn't a sadist. He was a professional in a brutal system, and he found dignity where he could. His diaries blur the line between executioner and doctor, tormentor and savior. In 1602, Schmidt was ordered to execute Margaretha Durler, accused of witchcraft. Like many women of the time, she had confessed under torture to impossible crimes, pacts with the devil, flying through the night. Schmidt obeyed the order, but in his diary, he questioned the justice of it all. He noted that women under torture would confess anything to end the pain. Durler's case haunted him. She never recanted, never begged for forgiveness. She went to her death insisting on her innocence. This was rare. Most condemned accepted guilt to ease their final moments. Schmidt's doubts reveal a crack in the system, and perhaps in his own conscience. For 45 years, Schmidt served as Nuremberg's executioner. He killed men, women, and even teenagers. He tortured suspects until they broke. He executed his own brother-in-law for counterfeiting. And yet, he kept meticulous notes, not out of cruelty, but out of duty. In 1618, Schmidt finally retired. He had saved enough money and negotiated his family's release from the hereditary curse. His children would not be forced to carry the executioner's sword. He turned openly to medicine, becoming a respected healer. Franz Schmidt's story is unsettling because it forces us to see the human behind the executioner's mask. He was not a sadist reveling in cruelty. He was a man trapped in a system, performing society's dirty work with precision, conscience, and eventually, regret. His diaries are more than a record of death. They are a mirror of a world where violence was justice, and where even the man who swung the sword longed for redemption. So what do you think? Was Schmidt a monster shaped by his profession, or a victim of a cruel system that left him no choice? Drop your thoughts below. I read every comment. If you found this story eye-opening, give it a like to help others discover it. Subscribe to Tortured Past for more stories of dark history, from forgotten executions to the rituals society would rather erase. And remember, history is full of shadows. Sometimes it's the people forced to live in them who leave us the clearest view of the past.